following message is being transmitted at the request of the Boundless PodTrap movie review and the guys of the BPT. What you are about to hear contains spoilers to movies. If you don't want to hear these spoilers, please disengage your listening device at this time. If you can't handle those with a possible differing view on a movie, you may also want to disengage your listening device at this time. Stay tuned for a movie review that only the guys at the Boundless PodTrap can give you.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Yo, 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 yo. What's happening, guys? Back for, what is this, episode 7 now?
Well, yeah.
Episode 7?
Is it?
Of the Boundless PodTrap
we
movie
each,
review?
we each did one, John did one, and now we're cycling through the round again.
Time flies. I feel like we were just doing Pulp Fiction.
Well, we did.
I feel like we say that for the last opening of the last few ones, too.
I was going to say, we need to come up with like a different intro, whoever leads. I feel like every podcast, this one, the other one that we do, where it's like, what's going on, fellas? Like, that's what we always say. We know what's going on.
Movie review. That's what it is. Movies. And since I'm starting it off with the opening here, it must be my movie.
It is.
It is your movie.
God help us all.
Oh my God.
You guys are going to love it. I feel like you guys are.
This will be the last you hear of Lonnie and I talking on here.
Optimistically hopeful.
I don't know what that means. You'll have to explain it.
This is the last of us talking?
So basically what this episode's going to be is me and Jeremy trying to pronounce Asian names for 10 minutes and then Justin telling us about a movie for 2 hours.
Scene by scene.
2 hours? We haven't gone over like an hour 15.
I know.
Due to editing, because
even the editing's like, yawn.
Yeah.
Hand me one of them donut holes there, Bubba.
Boom. Oh, wow. Well, tonight, this morning, whatever time you guys are watching this, we are going to be covering 2005's Chapolang Killzone, starring Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung.
It's called Chapolang Killzone?
It's a Chapolang. It's a SPL.
I think I watched the wrong one then.
Whoops. I
thought that same fucking thing.
There is a Killzone that is, I sent you guys a link to it.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's the only reason I knew I was watching the right one, because
I had to pause it halfway through an IMDb it.
And I already know you guys are already watching the same thing, because you said you're going to be trying to decipher Asian names here, so.
Well,
there is an
pretty
American.
much do that with most Asian culture movies.
There is an American version of Killzone that is nothing like this. I think it was in the 80s or early 90s or so, but
that's the one that I kept coming across. I'm like, this can't be it, because I know Donnie Yen is in it, and this has
what's his name in it?
Sammo Hung? Wing Jun or Ju Wing?
No, don't make fun of my Asian heritage. Ju Wing.
Wu Jing. I said it wrong twice. Wu Jing.
So it's going to be all three of us making racist stereotype Asian names. But you're married to one.
Just racial, not
Justin
racist.
His will sound legit, because he kind of sounds like.
I grew up in the culture of the Orient, so it'll be all right. I'll get by. I'll probably brutal a lot of this, but anyways, Killzone, one of my favorite movies starring Donnie Yen. And this is one of the things I wanted to do for you guys, because I don't know how familiar you are with Donnie Yen, but Donnie Yen is one of my top favorites. A lot of people, they pit him against a lot of the other ongoing, like, who would win in a fight, Jet Li or Donnie Yen? Like, who's better than whatever? It's like, nowadays, because of Donnie Yen's character, he is a type of actor, martial artist who can adapt to the times. And what I didn't like about, like, I love Jet Li movies, but he's kind of fragile. Like, he broke both of his legs as a child, and he wasn't supposed to be fighting or competing, and yet he still continued with his martial arts. So Donnie Yen would definitely beat him by far. They're both extremely fast, but Donnie Yen is probably faster. Anything that you saw in this movie is not increased in speed. That's his actual speed.
Jeez.
Looked pretty slow to me.
It's not yin or yang for me. Get it? Because that's their names. Johnny Yim or Simon Yam.
Yin?
Get it? You get
Yes,
it?
I get it.
You get it? Yin or Yam?
Or
Anyways.
Hung.
So, Internet Movie Database, the description of this, it's a near-retired inspector and his unit are willing to put down a crime boss at all costs while dealing with his replacement, who is getting in their way. Meanwhile, the crime boss sends his top henchmen to put an end to their dirty schemes. And the Internet Movie Database gives this a 7 out of 10. It's directed by Wilson Yip, which you have probably seen Donnie in a lot of his. That's one of his go-to guys. Ip Man is one of his more notable movies or franchises. They're already up to Ip Man 4, which I'm excited because they got Scott Adkins in that, and they even got Mike Tyson in one of the Ip Mans. And
that makes you excited?
No, but he did a good job. He did a good job for what it was.
White American who eats babies.
But yeah, no, Wilson Yip, he directed and he also wrote this, along with a few other people. So yeah, Donnie Yen, Sammo Hung, Simon Yam, to name a few. One of the things also that
tight.
Thank you. One of the things that I also wanted to cut out of the way before it gets too problematic. I don't know if I want to say problematic, but this is an Oriental flick. This is a Hong Kong flick.
You don't say.
I prefer to watch things in its native language and just read the subtitles. If I'm not fluent, I'm not fluent, guys. So just go with it. I think it kind of takes me out of it when people sub over it. And you did say that you watched.
I did. I admitted it straight off the go that I did watch it dubbed.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, I can't watch things dubbed. I have to have the subtitles.
Right.
Yeah, see, I was trying to multitask while I was watching this movie because I'm packing because I'm just moving into a new home, just closed on a new home. So I'm trying to speed pack and watch an infant at the same time. So I knew I would miss certain things. Watching dubbed, you really do miss out on the tone of the movie.
Oh, yeah. And it's usually a lot more cheesier too when a voice actor adds their take to it. It's
right.
You want to come over here and do that? It's like, that's not how they're saying that.
It's the worst.
Right. But, and I'll explain a little when we get to our ratings.
Right. Which we'll move into in a second here.
Yeah.
But was that up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll get more into it when we get into our ratings about the dubbing.
Seconds up.
Well, okay, we'll just go straight into it then. So I'll come flat out and say I am not a big fan of action movies. They're not my favorite. They're probably, other than straight, make you cry dramas, my least favorite genre of movies. What I realized is I'm not a fan of the American style of action movies. The dialogue leads the dialogue leads the dialogue to big action explosion, end of movie. With the Asian style of action movie is little dialogue, more action. And I think watching this movie dubbed really didn't take away a lot of the atmosphere and tone of this movie because it was so driven on action and the choreography was so beautiful, like you were saying, with Donnie Yen's character and everybody in general. And even the Wong Po character, during their scene with him being a little bit bigger of stature, you'd expect him to be slower, but their scene was flawless. It was what you would expect, like, the end boss to be in a video game. Like, you wouldn't expect him to be fast, but he was fast. You wouldn't expect him to be so strong. He was so strong.
I would say flawless to an extent. There was like a few minor things that I'd pick apart.
The only thing about this movie, and we could touch on it as we go, I wish there was a little bit more character development with some of the characters, and I think that took me out of it a lot. But if they did all the character development I wanted, it would have been like a 2.5 hour movie. I think they did really well, keeping it at that 1.5 hour slot. I give it a solid 7 out of 10.
7, just up there with the Internet Movie Database rating here. I guess going back to the Asian American culture, you do have to understand that there is a difference in that. There is a culture shock. I think a lot of people who might be less geared to these sorts of movies will look at it and be like, well, that's not how things would go. It's like, no, the gangs do run the streets sometimes.
Absolutely,
and certain of like Hong Kong or inner city China.
Right.
And this is actually what sort of happened. And,
well, in American action movies as well, like they push so much in like giving you a backstory on the character and making him larger than life and being like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's sensitive but also strong, and he's trying to save his kids, and I don't give a fuck about Dwayne "The Rock's kids. I don't give a fuck that he hurt his wrists playing softball at the age of 6. I don't care. Just beat someone's ass, blow something up. And I think that with this movie and a lot of other of the Korean, the Japanese, the Hong Kong action movies, they use the dialogue and this movie especially to just get from fight scene to fight scene.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it in some areas, the dialogue gets kind of diluted, just trying to get from scene to scene. There was a couple times I got lost in it, but I liked it.
A few things that might be a hiccup in the translation as far as like these subtitles or voice over, the dubs, the subs. But for the most part, this is how the culture would exist.
Right.
And I think a lot of people get pulled out. It's kind of like,
So are we just forgetting our
no,
ratings?
I'm
We're
still
getting into the movie.
I'm still getting into it. But no, it's something that you kind of have to consider sitting down to it. It's like if you're reading a book, you read from left to right, but if you're reading like a manga, it's right to left, page flipping the opposite way. It's like when you approach a movie like this, you have to sit with a different mind frame. Like, I know what I'm getting into now. Now I know what I'm getting into. This is an American version. This is a Asian version. But separating that and then adding your ranking to something like that, I think you have to approach it differently. But for me, I do love this movie. There's a lot to it. It gets straight to the point. Like I said, the dialogue doesn't necessarily drive it. The action does, the intensity, the emotion. And there is a lot of emotion for being based around pretty much 99% men. And most people, I guess, see that as like, oh, it's just going to be context driven. But it's like, no, there's something deeper here that they're trying to say, protect or build up. But for me, I would have to give this a 9.5. There's just minor things I could pick out. So other than that.
So I start every movie out at a 5. I don't start it at a 0. I start at a 5 because 5 on our scale basically means a movie is a movie. So when I'm watching a movie at the start of it, it's a movie. This movie, I will say, Justin sent us the link on YouTube. Sometimes I forget. I don't usually watch movies on YouTube. Sometimes I forget what streaming device I'm watching it on. So I watched the first 20 minutes of this movie, no subtitles, nothing. And I will tell you, I cursed Justin's name when it started and they're talking in Chinese, Japanese, whatever it is. And there was no subtitles. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just this opening scene. It's a flashback or whatever. Maybe once it gets in the movie, they'll start talking English. Didn't happen. I'm like, well, fuck me. And I mean, it was a pretty easy thing to follow along. But then I remembered I'm watching this on YouTube. If I go to settings, I can turn on English subtitles, and I did. And then I think I did it at the right time because there was key information where I'm like, I would not have gotten that without subtitles. So this movie stayed at a 5 for a long time for me. Then the first fight scene happened, and I'm like, holy shit, this is fast paced. A heavier set guy is doing things that a tone ripped lean guy would do, and it was very brutal. And then the movie kept going and going and going. And especially that end fight scene, I'm like, though unrealistic, some of the things he was doing,
Right.
I was like, wow, that's brutal. It was a simplistic storyline, which I like. It wasn't overcomplicated with anything. And then which I'll get into later, the ending of the movie, not the end, but the end of the fight scene, the little twist that happens there. I'm like,
It has
wow.
a Shakespearean ending.
Yes.
Yeah, big time.
And I'm just like, wow. I will admit, going into this when it first started, I'm like, I don't know about this movie. But I think surprisingly, Justin, you might be surprised that I gave this 8 out of 10.
8?
Yes.
Nice. That is a overall skill of a BPT rating of 8.5. Right on.
Yeah.
That's our podcast.
Have a good night.
Yeah, no, the ending of this movie, it was so poetically beautiful. And I don't know if they meant it to be so poetically beautiful, but from dissecting it and the way it was, man, yeah, Shakespearean's the best way to put it. It was so beautiful.
Well, and most movie endings nowadays, I feel like they put so much into the movie and then they rush the ending, or there's no thought to the ending. And there could be a lot of movies I watch, I'm like, fuck, this is a great movie. And then the ending falls flat. This one didn't. And, as this disclaimer at the beginning says, there's spoilers here. When Wong Po,
Played by Sammo Hung.
you think he's dead, and then he basically
Has that horror movie.
Yeah,
Come
out
back
of
to-
nowhere,
Yeah.
when you think it's all over and everything's good, he comes back from the dead and kicks Donnie Yen out the window, and he falls on a car which had Wong Po's wife and baby in it,
Yeah.
and it killed them. And I'm like, what the fuck did I just see? And then, of course, the guy that played Chung, I think Chan.
Inspector Chan.
You know, he has cancer in it, and then it's like the end scene is him with his goddaughter on the beach, and
like nobody has any happy endings.
Yeah, he kills over and dies, and it's like, to me that means his goddaughter dies because she's this little girl playing by the ocean or the sea, and it's like there's nobody around, so it's like, does she wander off in the water? What happens to her?
See, that was a rough thing because the Hoi, which was the goddaughter, she was the daughter of the parents who were in the witness protection, which Inspector Chan was trying to protect, but then they were supposed to pretty much rat on Wang Po to put him away, but he had Jack murder them, and that's how, you know, Chan got the glass in his head, and then upon further inspection, they're like, well, you have a tumor, and we don't know how long you're going to live. So he ended up taking her in as his own because she didn't have anybody. She didn't have a family. He was supposed to protect the family and her. But yeah, for her to pretty much go out there playing, you know, displaying some lust for life, like just living her life there. Like she experienced her parents' death due to the traumatic experience that it was kind of wiped from her memory. And that was kind of the fortunate thing for her. But now that she has this godfather who is taking care of her and kind of dies right there in front of her, unbeknownst to her, she has to eventually, she recognizes it. Now, it doesn't show you exactly where they are at this beach, but I assume it is a beach that people do populate. So she probably did get cared for at the end. I can't say that she died.
Man, but every time they're on that beach, nobody was there.
Right. Well, they at the very end, you see the shoes put there. You don't see little shoes.
That was a nice touch. I like that shot.
That was kind of the sending off. But yeah, I want to preface this. The title, SPL, Sha Po Lang, this is pretty much going to be the only like meaningful or symbolic thing because it is titled correctly. It is, you have Sha, Po, and Long. Those are the 3 stars. That's the power star, which is called 7 Killings. You have the ruinous star, which is called the Army Breaker. And then you have the flirting star, which is called the Greedy Wolf. And these 3 stars, with their changes, they could create or destroy that beautiful life of yours. That's how it is put in the Chinese astrology. So SPL for short, it symbolizes power, destruction, and lust. And in Chinese astrology, the position of these stars, they warrant one's fortunes. So anywhere that these people were at any point of their life, it can go one way or another. So, and that's with anything, obviously. But you have the 4 main people of the group. Their lives can change drastically depending on their, you know, like you have the greedy one who is just wanting the money. You have the army breaker who is just like the headstrong, the angry one. But this doesn't necessarily fall directly for that character because you can kind of display these characteristics yourself at any one point of your life. I did want to make mention that Sammo Hung, this is kind of a veer into my life, but Sammo Hung as Wang Po, he always has like this stern look, which just kind of reminds me of my dad. Exactly, because Sammo Hung looks like a Chinese version of my dad. So...
Yeah, you did show me a picture of that. It is like, it doesn't look like he is him. Right. Let's put it that way.
He's got the same, like, my dad just has a bald spot up top. Other than that, he looks like Sammo Hung.
Identical to him.
Yeah.
There is such a discrepancy between attractive Asian culture men to non-attractive Asian culture men. Like in America, there's like stages of beauty. There is unattractive Asian culture men and like beautiful Asian culture men. Like there isn't that middle range. Like Donnie Wen.
What's happening here?
Is he coming out?
Like the garage door's open. Yeah. No, but Donnie Wen is a beautiful man. And Timmy Hung, beautiful man. Like there's such a discrepancy between people in this movie. And I don't know why I noticed it, but I don't know if they played it up. I don't know if they played it up, and it was just one of those things I noticed. And Wang Po's wife as well.
Hey,
she's the most beautiful woman.
Well, he married down. He's got money, so
or married out. The most beautiful woman in the movie. I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was just something they did, but...
Now that I think about it, she was like the only adult female in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there was a few nurses, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't count, really. What I was going to say about Sammo Hung, he gives chunky guys like you, Lonnie, some hope that you can. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I know.
Sammo Hung grew up in the Chinese circus, so he was rolling around with Jackie Chan. He's been in Bruce Lee movies.
Is he in a popular like American TV show? I feel like he was.
Yes, he was in Martial Law. He was.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Because I was like watching him, like, now I know that's Justin's dad, but what else was he?
Yeah, actually, my dad used to watch that. Walker Ranger and Martial Law used to come in back and back, so we used to watch that.
That's what it is. Okay. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Justin, and say that the character of Jack is your favorite character, and I think it's a character you would love to play, or you see a lot of yourselves in it, because from his hairstyle, back when you had hair,
That would be your favorite. That's Mohawk.
His attire, his just everything about him. I just felt like when I was watching it, like, I think this is Justin's favorite character in this movie.
I think about that now. My favorite character is still Donnie Yen, because I've always been a huge Donnie Yen fan. But Wu Jing is an amazing martial artist. Like, he had a big break. He did like something way back in, and then like 10 years later, he didn't do really much anything. He kind of put himself in the academy, wushu and stuff. I think he also has taekwondo, but not necessarily. I hated this guy. I really, like, that motherfucker got what he deserved. You know, like, that's how much I hated him. But knowing the actor himself, because he is also in the next Killzone. There's 3 Killzones. Tony Jaa and Wu Jing are like the leads in the next one. But I would like to play a character like that. But back then, when I first was introduced to this, like 20, well, can't be 20, at least 15 years ago or so, yeah, I hated the dude.
Well, I watched a suggested video on YouTube after I watched it. It was like a 50-some minute fight scene with Donnie Yen and Wu Jing, or however you pronounce his name. And it was that alley fight that they were doing. And it was behind the scenes. Very interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing, but God, like, it was almost like they went into that not even knowing what the choreography was going to be. It was like they were making it up on the spot. And it was interesting because they would have Donnie Yen would watch 2 other random guys do the moves and stuff, and he'd be like, no, let's do this. And so it was like he was watching them do it, and then he's like, okay, once they got it figured out, then him and Wu Jing would step in and they would do it. And I mean, cinematography wise, God, that it's a lot of the same things over and over. And it's crazy because he would have padding under his sleeves, and like he was really getting hit, and he would miss a lot of times and hit him in the wrist. And there was lots of times where Wu Jing would be like, we gotta stop type thing. And I mean, it was very interesting to watch. I'd never really seen a making of fight scene like that,
an actual fight scene
with how flipping fast they go.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They are perfect matches for each other, and I loved the dynamic that they have. Like, Wu Jing in this movie, he's portrayed very fast flow, wide movements, blade, and Donnie Yen, he's power, straight to the point, not too circular with his movements. The cinematography that goes around that doesn't necessarily cross the line, you know, like it's going back and forth over the shoulder, but it's not crossing the line as far as the choreography. Everything's selling on one side, and then you switch to the other side because of camera awareness. What I also love about this is they're selling their hits. It's like they know it's painful, and they're like backing away from each other, like, you know, like, that fucking hurts, you know? That's how it's going to be in an actual fight. Right. A lot of the fights where it's, let's just make a 10-minute fight scene, and it's like, no, you're going to be winded. You're going to be out of breath.
Yeah.
Right.
And both of you guys, what I wanted you guys to pick out from this is the amount of wrestling moves that they pulled.
From this. I was calling out, like, suplex.
Yeah. Sharpshooter.
I took a chair shot.
What I like that they do too, especially in the bar scene fight or wherever lounge, wherever they're fighting that end scene, is how they put baby powder on everything, like their shoes, the top of the bar or whatever. So when they hit
just the surface powder, it shows impact. And that's one thing I wanted to use in Unemployed was I brought baby powder for our fighting characters.
Oh, that's what that's for. Okay.
But I mean, like, selling that, like, showing that, like, it looks like they're dirty. It's like, well, this guy's dressed in a $500 suit or more, and powder's just like coming off of him. Is he dirty? Like, no, it's just an impact effect.
Right. Well, I mean, rolling around on the ground and bumping into stuff, there's going to be that natural dirt element that comes out of things. So it's not crazy to believe that happens.
There's a few things I with Wu Jing in particular, for a guy who wears all white and uses his blade as his weapon of choice.
Not much blood.
No blood on him until the very end when he gets,
I thought the same thing. I'm like,
And that was one of the reasons why I gave the movie a 7 was some of the instances with the Wu Jing where he's taken full force slashes and they're taking stab wounds through the elbow and still fighting. A little bit is unrealistic. And that's a problem where action movies struggle to me. Like, realistically, I break a toenail and I'm fucking done. Like, it's all right, you win. So for someone taking a blade through the elbow ditch and out the elbow and still throwing punches and blocks with that same arm, yeah.
Are you talking about Inspector Chan taking the knife to the arm?
in the parking garage.
Oh,
like,
that one too? Yeah. Yeah.
There's just some things that are so outlandish it takes me out of the moment. And it's the same thing with like professional wrestling. Like, there's some things that just are too unrealistic to make you go, oh, that's right. Like, getting punched in the face repetitively, one of them's going to knock you out. Like, realistically.
Counting to 10.
Yeah.
I thought the fight choreography in this movie was great.
Absolutely.
My favorite part is the last part when Donnie Yen has Sammo hung. He's choking him, and his phone rings.
Absolutely beautiful.
And
scene.
how he lets up so that he can talk.
He has a heart.
Then the minute they hang up, right back onto it. And I was like, wow, like, I don't know why that spoke volumes to me, but I thought that was very well done.
Well, that's that whole scene. Like, that scene from that point to the end, it makes it make sense and makes it so impactful that, like, he's willing to show heart, and it shows that Wang Po is the ultimate evil. Like, he's willing to be so bad, he gets what he deserves. Like, he's so evil and is willing to take out his enemy that he's willing to give up everything he loves to win. And in turn, he does.
Yeah.
That was his falling grace, if you will. Like, when he answered the phone and got it kicked out of his hand, like, it went to speakerphone, and she was like, the baby and I miss you, and that's when he lets up a little bit. It's like, I don't know if he's doing it. He's not doing it for Wang Po. He doesn't care for Wang Po after what has happened to his men. He's doing it because the baby and the wife, they're victims of their environment. Like, they don't necessarily they don't deserve the punishment.
Right.
Yet they are still in the targets of the wrath. But what I really liked about this movie is it anchors the emotions early on, especially with Wang Po. So, like, it hooks it in with the little girl. So, like, both of her parents were murdered by direction of Wang Po. And then when he is in the hospital waiting for his wife after the second miscarriage, all he wants to do is be a dad. He wants to be a loving husband. He wants to be a dad, yet he has this corrupt business as like a triad leader.
Right. And
he would probably walk away from that just to be that father figure. When she comes up to him and like gives him a piece of candy, like, why are you sad? Hopefully, this candy will make you happy. And he doesn't know that this is the little girl whose parents he just killed. And he doesn't recognize that until Inspector Chan comes in and pulls her away. And I don't know if he puts it together then, but you feel bad for him. Like, he wants a kid.
That scene right there, I thought there was an interesting cinematography thing when it's like showing a Hung sitting in the chair in the hallway, and then it does a split screen and it's showing them walking away. And just, it's kind of like his POV, like as they're moving away. I just thought it was an interesting choice. Like, when it first went to a split screen, I'm like, I don't know about that. And then I was like, that was actually kind of a pretty beautiful shot.
I could be wrong, but I want to say this was a comic book. I don't know if it was after the movie, but I'm pretty sure it is a comic book now. But I think it just used that comic effect.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Inspector Chan, he's the lead to the case trying to put Wang Po away. And he's been trying so for years now, but nothing seems to stick. So he was one of the survivors from the initial assassination and taking care of the little girl. The 13 minutes in, Chan makes a little promise that he won't let anything happen to his men. And he's talking to like the new recruit, saying to go undercover and work for Wang Po so they can take him in from the inside. And that was kind of crazy because I don't know how he would find out who is not necessarily the rat or the snitch, but the inside guy, because they ended up murdering that guy. And that was the guy who was filmed by the
handicapped person.
I don't know if they were trying to make him handicapped, but he was.
Fuck, they weren't.
Yeah, he had definitely some
some sort of syndrome.
Mental development issues.
I thought he was just really shy.
Okay.
No, the actual handicap person was the person that Donnie Yen pretty much retarded. Like he pulled back and one hit and just mentally decimated
that's physically handicapped.
And after that, that's like, because he was after this suspect for who knows how long. They didn't press on that storyline, which is good because you have enough of it to work with.
Right.
And it's like, cool. And he feels bad for what he did. He handicapped this guy. This guy does not have his functions, his faculties anymore. He is now what was a low-life criminal to a handicapped beggar in a sense. He walks around with a cart. He meets every single week playing King of Fighters. And he loses to him because I think there's guilt. And not only that, but like the handicapped guy tries to help him. Like, you need to try harder. You need to,
he knows.
You never, but he thinks he's legitimately winning against Inspector Ma, or Donnie Yen's character. But yeah, he has that heart. And he was lost at one point and his star moved to a different direction. And now he has integrity and trying to be a better person. When he was younger, his dad was killed by criminals and there was nothing that he could do. And he wanted to get on the force. He never looked back. He wanted to right things from the inside. And then he's with a crew, trying to lead a new crew. And all of them have like their little issues.
Right.
So going back to Donnie Yen again here. So Donnie Yen was the reason why I wanted you guys to...
Did we ever leave him?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
You might recognize him from like other movies like Blade 2. He was the guy with the bow staff. Star Wars Rogue One, he was the blind guy with the bow staff. He was also in Once a Time in China. He was the guy with the staff.
Grease, Danny Zuko.
Popular Ip Man franchise, also known with the staff. Jet Li's hero was the guy with the staff. Monkey King, and he was a legendary Monkey King with the bow staff. So he uses
Deep Throat, he was the guy with that staff.
And then here he has like a makeshift bow staff with a baton. It's like a half staff, but yeah.
You know, after watching this movie, I don't know that I really have seen anything with Donnie Yen in it before. I kind of want to start watching some stuff within it.
Very good.
But since I'm a huge Cobra Kai fan, I would love to have him on that show, or at least be teaching the fight choreography in some of those episodes.
Oh, as far as like behind the scene or
yeah, I mean, he could be a character in front of the camera, but I think that if he was teaching the choreography for like the Cobra Kais.
To be honest, though, I don't think anyone is that talented enough on that show.
But if you have somebody like him that's been doing this long enough, then they're a good teacher / sensei. I don't know. And the Cobra Kais are being set up for season 4 being all the fit people that are in shape. So I think that they could do it.
What I liked about
Donut hole.
The talent of Inspector Ma. No, the talent of Inspector Ma, like he enters the office and he like analyzes the desks of his new team. So he kind of gets the laydown of the people before he actually meets them. So he gets the gist or the read by the interacting with the environment. So Wah, he's the temperamental one. You got Kwok, which is devotion to his daughter. And you got Lee, which is like the strategist, the interest in finer things, mainly travel. And Lee, he's not necessarily committed to his job as though you get from the interaction with Inspector Ma. He's wondering, like, did you ever doubt being on the force? Because if you looked at Inspector Lee's desk, he has, like, maps and stuff, and his family is in Brazil. They left, and, like, he just kind of wanted to get out of there. He's the one who put the money in his trunk, kind of like his going away, Wong Po's money into his trunk.
Speaking of, like, that little bit of character development between them, when Yin and Yang are... when they're doing their walk around the city... And they go to like the downtown area and they throw the bottle at them. It's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. Like it shows you that seedy underbelly of the city. What they do to the kid where they make him take off his boots and walk in the glass. But that quick transition to where Wong Po comes out and that just like you think this is you being tough, but this is actually like our revolution. Like it's so smoothly, beautifully transitioned to where they're trying to be tough and he's trying to show Yin that no, if you want to be a cop, you got to be an asshole, which is I think basically like the way the world is right now. In 2005, they were thinking like, this was a fictional world, and now we're living in that world. It was neat to look at what people thought was fictional, and now we live in it every day.
Right.
I thought that was probably one of the cheesier spots when Wong Po comes down, clinking the glass to the railing. It's like, are you going to break out in song or?
Oh, they did. They did in the version I watched. That was my next topic.
I liked the dialogue between Inspector Chan and Inspector Ma. Like when they first met, they were on the beach. He approached him and there was like this simple proverb that kind of like sweeps the meaning to everybody. They were talking about the tumor and he was asking like, how long do you have? And Chan says like he's running out of time and it's like, well, you won't know until the final day. And I think that kind of speaks volumes for everybody else because, Wang Po, he lost his wife and his child. Ma loses his life. The team all die before they can carry out and mend their relationships and all their desires. Like somebody wants to travel, somebody wants to mend his relationship with his daughter. The other one wants to, also mend his relationship with his father who hasn't spoke to in over 10 years.
And the minute they do.
Yeah, that's when it's the end. And
never accomplish goals, kids.
Yeah. Your dreams are stupid.
I was going to ask you, Justin, since you find meaning in things, because I just thought this was very random. So the part where they're all on the beach, even his goddaughter, and he throws the pink ball in the ocean. Is there what's the purpose? Like to me, that's just mean. That's the little girl's ball. Yeah. It's like, well, fuck you. It's going in the ocean.
They're just being mean.
Inspector Wall was the temperamental one. Like he was the one who always had
that
issues.
Temperamental that he's going to throw a little girl that's doing nothing to him and her ball in the
Dad,
boat.
he threw my ball in the ocean.
That was just basically their attitudes. Like you're supposed to believe that those other three are just assholes.
Yeah, he goes headfirst into the.
But they're the ones that are going to be taking care of that girl when he passes on.
Oh, the current will bring it back.
Yeah, you're just, at that time of the movie, they're trying to just make you believe that these three are the bad cops.
I didn't get that at all.
And it's not that they're bad
I think
cops.
That was badly done then.
It's just that they're trying so hard to put Wang Po away, but everything that they try does not stick. And now this is where they have to play dirty. Inspector Chan is on his way out. Like he wants to see this guy behind bars and stay behind bars before he hangs up his badge. So that's where they get the tape and they delete the end of it and they're trying to keep everybody else in the dark. And it's like, no, you're guilty. Like the last people who had, who were witnesses to you, you killed them.
And fuck this girl's little ball.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of this.
You're still on that?
I am. There has to be some meaning to that.
Well, I mean, like he was just...
He's throwing away her...
He was an asshole. Inspector Wall was an asshole. Like,
look what he did with... Though. I didn't get that at all.
Look what he did with the filmmaker's room. Like, he trashed the dude's stuff for no reason.
Yeah, but because he was told to do that. And that guy was
no. He wasn't told to trash him. That was just the way he carries out things.
No, he told him to take care of it.
Yeah, he didn't say take care of it, but he was just...
He did say take care of it. Why are you quoting it? That's exactly what he said. I don't know. I think that I guess that could be one of the downfalls to this movie was I don't think that the character development was...
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of messed up.
Lonnie did say that.
Because it wasn't Wong Po. It was a Japanese dude. Well, I guess he's supposed to play a Chinese, but it was his white hand guy who had like the fedora, the weird-ass hat. He was the one who shot the undercover agent, the new recruit. But Wong Po was the one taken to his face with the golf club. And I liked how they brought the golf club back. But it's like, isn't he an accomplice to murder then? Like, why can't that stick? Just because he didn't pull the trigger?
That's how they do things over there.
I don't know how it works.
Back in 2005.
Downtown Chinatown.
You can't say that.
I can, and I just did.
I was thinking, too, the part where Chan was with, I don't know his name, the supposed bad attitude cop guy.
Wah.
When they're sitting there eating, Wah.
Yeah.
That's his name?
Inspector Wah.
He's fucking taking chunks of lo mein and downing it and stuff. I'm like, I know you didn't do this fucking in one take. Like, this guy had to eat so much goddamn lo mein noodles while he was doing that scene because, like I said, what first noticed it to me is I suck at eating with chopsticks. I can eat sushi with chopsticks because that's something big to grab onto. That's what she said. But like rice, lo mein noodles, stuff like that, I could try all day and I'm not going to get any noodles on it. But he's grabbing like the whole fucking bowl of it and eating it.
Well, and that's just the culture. Like, I've seen a lot of...
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to slurp it up. Like,
but I'm just like
that means it's
how
good.
much of that did he eat?
All of
that
it.
Scene. My God, he had to be like throwing up.
Easy scene.
Yeah.
All of it, every time.
I guess so.
So there was like a little turnaround part where Inspector Ma is the one who walks with the moral compass. And Inspector Chan is probably, they're trying to get him on the side. They're trying to get him on their side. Like, you're taking over the team. Wong Po has been playing not by the rules this entire time. Yet he's able to squeeze out of things and finagle his way. He's got a high-paid lawyer. We got people coming in to claim the murder of this person. They got the full video, the copy of the video. How did they find out who had the actual copy?
That's what I want.
That doesn't make sense, but and it's not like it's a small town. Like
Didn't he come forward with the copy of it?
He came forward to the inspectors and stuff, but they didn't put his name out. They were actually trying not to because they wanted to corrupt the tape. Yeah, giving him credit, he probably would come forward. And even when afterwards, when Inspector Wall went to go handle it, the guy was still saying that the skinny guy shot him and not Wong Po. So his word would have got Wong Po out. Inspector Chan, like he has a vendetta for Wong Po, and he questions his path. And Chan throws that right back in his face. It's like, well, you punched some guy so hard with one punch and ruined his entire life. Like he's no more. And it made him kind of consider getting onto the same side. So when he returned back to the station and the chief, the commissioner or whatever, he approaches him, like, where have you been? And he looks back and he sees all the people claiming to the murder of the undercover new recruit. And the team shows up behind him. And that little nod that he gives, like, all right, I'm on your side. I thought that was a very respectful gesture.
Is that your dick that just fell on the table there?
Yes.
Loud.
Flop.
Even when Wong Po was arrested, he assaulted an officer. He broke his finger. He grabbed it around the bar and just like started compressing his finger against it.
Even when he was in the interrogation room, he threatened the one guy, like, come
you
get
want to
my
take it
cell
to
phone.
Yeah.
Come get it. It's like, okay, well, that's a threat right there if I've ever heard of one.
This was based around Father's Day, and I think the Father's Day holiday kind of adds to it because one of them is trying to get back in contact with his dad, Inspector Wah, and Wong Po is a new father, and he's trying to enjoy it. Inspector Ma doesn't have his dad. His dad died from way back, and Inspector Kwok, like, he is trying to be a father to his daughter, who he hasn't seen for 10 years. She finally came forward and, like, wants to have this relationship. And, like, they're so happy they have other things that they're trying to pursue, and it just doesn't fall through. Like, once they finally step outside the station and there's targets on their back, and just how Jack has eyes on everybody. He pretty much handles all of them in one night. How does he do that? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people all over who are giving the word out, but I don't know where the transfer of information, because he's just at the right time, at the right spot every single time.
I have to say, I like the debut of Jack in the parking garage. They have that inspector guy locked in there.
Yeah.
And then all the way, from the shadows, he sees him and he's like walking. Then all of a sudden he just starts running. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, does a little
if I saw that, that would just creep the shit.
Absolutely.
And then he does the spin thing and throws the dagger and it goes right through his fucking bicep. I'm like, get out of here.
That was an awesome touch, too. What I noticed in that one is Inspector Lee was the one who was trying to do the traveling, and he wanted to leave. He wanted to get out of here. His family went to Brazil. He kind of wanted to be away from this. He wasn't attached to the force. Like, he could have just walked away. And as he was getting death by 1,000 cuts,
1001,
Jack takes off his aviators and puts it on him before he finishes them off.
Huh.
Yeah. I thought that was a interesting kind of, yeah.
I think they're like Donnie Yen, how he's outside the gate watching it happen, and Jack's using the other guy as like a shield. From Donnie Yen's point of view, the inspector guys, he's fucked up. Like, he's not, just shoot through him, shoot and get the other guy.
Yeah.
That's why part of me was saying, oh, is Donnie Yen like actually part of it? Is he a bad guy? Is he gonna
switch?
Yeah, switch or whatever and whatnot. But that switch never came.
There was a part where Inspector Wall was dying, and it wasn't until that point where we're like, that guy looks like Lonnie. He looks like a Asian version of Lonnie.
You were in this movie, and Justin's dad were in the movie. Yeah. You guys are going to be in the American version of it.
Spoiler alert.
Do you like the Hurricanrana that Donnie Yen did?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I wonder if they did that on purpose or if that's just their way of fighting. Because, like, to me, a Hurricanrana, I've only seen that in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
There was a random suplex that I noticed in the middle of the movie as well.
Where he did Lee. He took Lee and
suplexed him through a table.
Yeah.
Well, because everybody knows a regular suplex doesn't do shit. It has to be through a table.
It's like Donnie Yen he's got a lot of arts under his belt. Like, he was just getting big into jiu-jitsu, so he definitely added a lot of that into this too. And most fights do go to the ground, and he is realistic enough to be aware of that. And how, as I was saying, like Donnie Yen is one of those actors or martial artists who try to adapt to what's going on. And 2005, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts were huge. So
Yeah, that was their heyday.
How old is Donnie Yen now?
dude, he's about like in the 50s or so.
That's it?
Give or take. I want to say so.
Oh, look, I'm right here.
I thought he was older than that. Because, I mean, that was 2005, and he looked like he was like in his 40s.
Yeah.
If he's in his 50s, he's holding up.
What I find really
He's got some black and knees in him.
weird also is he's got that Asian blood. They don't. It's the thing too. There's a meme I saw of like 4 cells of like a woman. It's like attractive woman at 19, attractive woman at 20, attractive woman at 40, and then they get all like, you know, slumped over and stuff at like 60 or so. It's like you look really good all the way until you hit 60.
So he was born in 63, so 48?
He's almost, no, he was 63?
So 47, 48?
No, he'd be almost 60. Because 2003, he would have been 40, 13, 53. So he's 58.
58.
Jeez. Well, this was also
2005, so this is 16 years ago.
Oh, fuck, we're in the 20s, aren't we? We're not in the 10s anymore.
Nope.
Holy shit.
Welcome to 2021.
I need to wake the
Come
fuck
back
up.
on this, man.
Yeah.
It's a sign I might be taking too many drugs, fellas.
Inspector Quack's daughter, like when they see each other, and she has like that playful question, like if this was the last day alive, and then he was murdered when she departed. It's like, man, it's like it's all these coincidence upon Wong Po's release. It's like it's just so fucked up. Like you want somebody to have a happy ending because they aren't all lost causes. They're not all corrupt cops. None of them are actually bad people. It's like one of them just has a temper, but they mean well. Like they want something to work out, especially with the corruption of the triad leader Wong Po.
The thing that stuck with me is how Chan said that he wouldn't let anything happen to any of his guys.
Yeah,
and then
and
it's
then-
just like every single one of them.
It's pretty much pulling it all out from underneath him. And Inspector Chan, when he goes to the compound, when he goes to meet Wong Po, and he brings in a bag, they frisk him. They don't check the bag. It's like, why the fuck not? If you're going to let somebody come to your boss, you're not going to check the contents of something. And then that was the downfall because he just pulled out some weapons and shot everybody. The next scene, when Donnie Yen comes in, no bodies, no blood anywhere. It's like, you just had a shootout right here, and then you're all tied up.
He's got a really great cleaning crew.
It seems like it. Like everything was back in order, and it was just him there. He took out all of his men. I think he might have done it himself.
He's got a really good Ruba.
I think everybody's favorite scene is usually the alley scene or the final fight.
I don't know. There was a scene with boobs in it, and they were really nice ones.
What?
There's boobs in this movie.
There was?
Yeah.
Where?
They bust into Wong Po's lounge, and I don't know if it was wife or who it was, but there's definitely boobs in it.
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I think I would remember something like that.
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube, so...
So I think you watched this wrong thing.
No, I didn't. I paused, rewound, paused, looked, giggled. I was told to fast forward, so I did.
I think you were watching Killbone.
No, this was a
There was no bones killed.
fast-paced movie that cut out a lot of the slack. Like, it didn't hold too long on things that could have dragged. It didn't drag at all. It moved the story along really quickly, and a lot of people came full circle. So Inspector Ma, like, he handicapped some dude with one punch, you know, and the dude landed on the car. His final ending was tenfold. Like, he landed on the car, killing himself. Wong Po, who desperately wanted to be a father, corrupted his own path by killing his only son after this is like a double rainbow child. He had 2 miscarriages already, and then the third one was supposed to be the charm, which he snuffed out. But no, this was an amazing movie all around. I think there's not too much I would change. There are some wire work issues and a few of those continuity issues as far as like the blood and
Right.
whatnot. But like the wire work where Donnie Yen does the aerial cartwheel over the bar and then drag him into the glass display. And I feel like they only did that one time because the setup, and I'm pretty sure it was rough.
Well, that was very far-fetched, that part, but it also is what sticks out in my mind.
Yeah,
in that last fight scene.
I assume that they probably wrote that up, you know, and it looked good on paper. But when they put it out, they probably didn't get the angle. They probably, due to budget or something, they probably didn't have.
And they used Sammo to actually do it. And it's just like, he was probably like, fuck this.
Again, he's been through worse. Like, if you know anything about the Chinese circus, doing movies like these are probably nothing. I mean, you know, because all the torture and stuff that they put each other through during that, especially because he grew up in the Chinese circus with Jackie Chan at a young age. You know, him, Yuan Bao, like.
For me, there's really not anything I would change, because the stuff I would change is usually like kind of like a little bit major and stuff, or a character. I don't know that I'd change any of the characters. I don't know enough about these kind of movies. I don't watch many of them. So it's just like, you know, this is kind of like the first one I've really paid attention to. Maybe after I watch more of them, I'd have a little bit more constructive criticism for it. But like I said, it was a simple plot. It was easy to understand. Even without the subtitles, I think you could figure out what the movie. The only thing that I would have probably not picked up on without the subtitles was the fact that he had cancer. That's the only. Yeah, the tumor. That's the only thing that I don't think I would have picked up on. But I other than that, I thought the movie was great. Honestly, I think 8's the most I've given for any of these movies so far. I don't know. Did Pulp Fiction? I might have given an 8.5 or a 9, but
Yeah.
this is up there.
Yeah, I think the movie was as good as it could have been for me. With the way I feel about the genre, I feel like this movie as a 7 is about its peak. They could have done some with the dialogue to keep me more interested. I think the action was good. I think, for what it was trying to do, it was really good. Like I said, the dialogue could have kept me more enthralled, but a lot of that could have been with me listening to the English dub of it. But 100% transparency, I don't think it would have kept me interested reading the dialogue, to be honest. I have trouble with subtitled movies, even when I am paying 100% attention to them. But like I said, with this one, the tone wasn't really lost because it was more about the action than the dialogue.
There's a lot of people who are just so detached from this. Like, they don't reach outside of their comfort zone. It's like, there are amazing things, especially in Asia. Like, Hong Kong flicks are putting out so much original stuff. Like, look at what we have, you know, we're trying to remake, recast, regender, sexual orientate, you know, certain people that are prime characters, like in the Marvel universe or something. And it's like, you don't have to. Like, you have a library to pick from other cultures or something that are being untouched. Like, there are awesome, like, African gods or, anything. You can just go anywhere. But, like, the way that they do it, like, with their mangas and stuff, it's like, you have top shelf stuff almost every month.
You said mangas.
Yeah.
He's got big mangas.
Big old mangoes.
Not what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think is probably one of the more higher rated, 8.5 BPT rating.
Yeah.
I know we had said that we were going to have a special guest for our next one, a buddy of mine named Joe O'Connor, but unfortunately, due to some schedule conflicts, he is not able to do our next podcast. Justin, you were going to reach out to somebody. Did they get back to you?
We're good. We're set.
They're going to do it?
They're going to do it.
What, do we know what the movie is?
We do.
What is it going to be?
Oh, am I supposed to announce it?
Heck yeah.
It's going to be Jeremiah. My good friend JJ, Jeremiah.
Okay.
He's going to be our next guest, and we are going to be watching, I don't know the year. I didn't need to do that. I'm sorry. We're going to be watching V for Vendetta.
Oh, wow.
We're going to review that, baby.
You know, I have not seen that movie since it was in theaters.
Yeah,
and I've seen it. I actually fell asleep during it, but that was because I had been up for almost like 30 hours.
You know, I feel like I did the same thing because I was in the military when that came out, and I probably fell asleep in the theater watching it.
I remember.
But afterwards watching it, amazing movie.
That was the only movie I've ever fell asleep at the theater. But again, I was up for so long, and there was nobody in the row besides the person I was with, and I freaking just like laid down on my side. Next thing I know, I missed like 30 minutes of the movie. And I don't remember anything of it, so that'll be an interesting one.
Boom. Great pick. I think it's going to be an exciting one. I haven't seen it in like so long, and I think it's going to be awesome for, I guess, our current climate, because it is kind of a political movie.
Very much so. I sell a lot of those Guy Fawkes masks at my work every year, especially this last year. So.
Dude, like, I mean, Guy Fawkes these days are synonymous with Anonymous. So, and I love what Anonymous does. It's kind of like the Satanic Church. Like, they right the wrongs that are necessary to go out of their way with for. It's like but
All right, well, I'm looking forward to that one.
Boom.
Interesting one.
Yay.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for watching episode 7 of the Boundless PodTrap movie review.
And to everyone else who doesn't have hearing vision, thanks for listening as well.
That too. Did I make an oopsies? I never make oopsies.
That's good.
But yeah. Well, have a good night, day, morning, etc.
Watch movies.
Bye.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.